What is going on, everyone? And today we're going to be talking about something that is just absolutely insane, and I won't be surprised if people think this way of me, but hear me out, please. So we're going to be discussing Star-Lord and to some extent Rocket Raccoon. Now, this is regular Star-Lord, aka the Guardians, not T'Challa, but not specifically for this reason. So some of you may have seen my video that I put out a little while ago about an event coming to the game with a specific tag, and for those who have not seen that video or want to know more because there's some slight additional news regarding this, then stay tuned because I'll be talking about exactly why you should consider either unlocking Star-Lord, you know, if you haven't at this point because you've completely ignored him, and that's okay, and why you need to gear these characters up, and the reasons may or may not shock you, but we're gonna go over them anyway. So without further ado, let's get this show started. Okay, so some of you may have been familiar with my Knowhere Heist video that at first originally came out. Now, there is a few additional details regarding this Knowhere Heist trait that was found within the code of the game. Now, just saying that because this trait is here means that I expect the event to come within this patch cycle. Maybe, maybe not, but otherwise if it wasn't, I don't know why it would be in here. So that means that this event relating to this trait is going to come probably in January. I'm going to say at this point because we kind of know things that are going to be coming. We have the magic event. We also have a Ghost Spider Blitz coming. Part of me doesn't feel like this is going to be coming until probably about January. So this gives you a little bit of time to get ready. But nonetheless, you do need to get ready. So within the code, there is something that suggested that this is going to be a Mythic Flash event. Now, this is very important because Mythic is in the title. Now, if you guys remember, for things like Adam Warlock, for Omega Red, what that term Mythic means, it means that there's a hard requirement for not only gear, but ISOs. Now, because this is a Flash event and not a legendary event, in this case, I do not think that yellow stars will matter for this event. And I want to be very clear about that. It's not related to your yellow stars, I'm pretty sure. I think what it's going to be about is going to be about gear tier, and it's going to be about ISO levels. Now, usually, Flash events do have a 7-tier structure. Not always. So I think... in this case, yes, because it's related to yellow stars. This one could be more, could be less. But from what I understand is that it's going to be starting at the gear tier 9 level, I'm pretty sure, which starts in purple, and working its way up. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I do not think Gear Tier 16 will be included at this point, but what this means is that how many ISO, colors do we have? Well, we have green 1 through 5, that's 5 right there. Blue ISO 1, blue 2, and blue 3. Now, it may not cover blue 3, but it could cover blue 2. So, the reason that I bring this up also is because Flash events typically are 3 attempts. You guys know for Payday, Chaos Theory, these kinds of things, that you can only ever do 3 at once. Now, what that does mean, though, is that you will need to possibly gear up Rocket Raccoon and Star-Lord. These other ones you might actually have. So this is, being a Mythic event, it is going to be aimed towards more endgame players. Newer players and mid-game players may or may not, or probably not, have both Doc Ock and Ebony Maw unlocked. Ebony Maw is a little bit harder to unlock than Doc Ock here, but Star-Lord is permanently available, and this is specifically why I want to focus on these two here, because they are ones that you can work on now, and especially if you were a later game player but completely ignored Star-Lord and Rocket Raccoon, that is completely reasonable. But because Star-Lord is permanently available, he is unlockable at 4-star, I think people should get on that now if they haven't already, so that they're prepared if they want to engage in this event. So, lucky for me, I have them at Gear Tier 13. That's because I used them in the far, 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 far distant past of the BKT era. So, I already have them at level 70, gear tier 13, which is probably at least going to get me through at least 2/3 of this event in terms of the requirements. Now, what is going to be a little bit troubling is when you're going to have to like put more green ISOs into them, which I really don't want to do, but I suspect that I'm going to have to. What that means is possibly going into the blue ISO range. You know, if there's 7 levels and it's related to the requirements of ISOs, I really hope it's not required for you to take them up to blue ISO 3. But you never know. So Star-Lord, we know he unlocks through Guardians and Ravagers. So as far as the characters that I recommend that you should, if you're a, you know, like a mid-game player or something and you haven't bothered, obviously Rocket is actually part of that unlock requirement for Star-Lord. So that's kind of a 2-in-1 game scenario there. So I would definitely do that. But as far as other characters are concerned, obviously work on Gamora. Some of the easier ones to pick up is Mantis in the Blitz store, Drax is in the Arena store, and some of the Ravagers actually at this point aren't that hard to get. Gamora can actually solo the event. So I did this on my baby account and it was very, very easy for me to do. So you don't really need to gear anyone outside of Gamora, but for the purposes of this event, you might be forced to do it for Rocket to get him up higher geared. So Ravager Boomer is also available in the Blitz store, so he is a good character just to get the star levels on. You could get him and Mantis at the same time, Gamora and Rocket, and you could get Drax. You could mix and match. Like I said, it's only a 4-star requirement now, and he is permanently available, which is really nice. So let's jump on back to the Knowhere Heist tag once again. You know, we're not going to be talking too much about these 3 characters here. Kitty Pryde is available in the raid store, just like Rocket, actually, so that's not a huge deal there. But I think what people are going to be really uncomfortable with is gearing these 2 characters because they're really obsolete. There was a rumor in the far distant past, I believe it was Casino, I forget who suggested that these 2 characters might get a rework with Nova Prime or Richard Rider Nova. So I don't know if that's coming to fruition or not, or if that will come to fruition or not. But as it sits right now, I know this is super uncomfortable for people to gear right now. So yes, for 3 attempts on a Mythic Flash event, that would suggest to me that the requirements would be Gear Tier 9, Gear Tier 10, and Gear Tier 11. And as long as there's no star level requirements on that, then you should be safe. Now, I'm not 100% sure on this, but that was what was suggested to me. Now, you would probably, just to be safe, want to get them at like a green ISO 3 or 4 level for that, and it depends on if this event is going to be running monthly or not, because we don't really know. There are events that exist, such as Block Party, you know, that runs every 2 months and not every 1 month, so it's really hard to say at this point, you know, whether or not it's going to be that way. So if it's every 2 months, you know, it could be that, you know, you don't need to prepare them as quickly. However, I would still at the very least get Star-Lord unlocked, get him semi-geared, and I know that's a lot of resources and gold that people aren't going to want to do, but it seems like there's a reason why these 5 characters are here together, and you're going to need to do something with them. And they're kind of making harder requirements on these events. That's why it's being labeled as a Mythic event. That being said, you know, I think that the rewards are going to be as such that it's going to be important. I could see the rewards based on what we already have for events. My guess, and this is just a shot in the dark, would be something related to either maybe level 4 or level 5 blue ions, which we don't have yet. Teal gear possibly, because we don't have any, you know, real good way to farm that. It could be like a teal catalyst event. It could be, hell, it could be like a red star event, like a red star orb event. We don't really know. But all we know is it's going to be something that we don't have right now. Something that we're probably going to want because it includes a bunch of characters, but also characters that we don't want to gear. And so I would prepare this in advance. You know, the sooner the better. That way it's not kind of blindsiding you, because these characters are probably going to need to be leveled. So I just wanted to share that with you guys really quick. You know, it's not a super long video, but I wanted to kind of share my thoughts, what I felt was coming up soon, and why you might need to do this, and especially for earlier players, maybe mid-game players who have some of these characters but haven't bothered to touch either of these. I think you're going to need to. So let me know how you feel about this tag once again in the comments down below. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week, and until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.